Alright, let's have a look at how to do a basic strip of this gun. Pretty straightforward. You only need a couple of tools. I've got a 1/8 inch brass punch and a slotted screwdriver. First thing you want to do is to make sure the gun's unloaded, so pull the cylinder pin ahead to unlatch the cylinder. Make sure the gun's unloaded. And the first thing we want to do after that is take the cylinder and the crane off. So we're going to use the brass punch. You can see that there's a hole here on the bottom of the frame underneath the barrel, and there is a plunger in there which holds the crane and the cylinder to the frame. So if we press that in and we can wiggle this around a bit, we should be able to remove the cylinder, there we go, and the crane. So those come off as a unit. Really no need to take those apart any further. You can get in there with a brush and solvent and clean any residue out, and clean each of the chambers out, clean the face of the cylinder off, get everything good and clean, and re-lubricate it before you put it back together again. This is the plunger that we were depressing. You can see that it has a tapered end and it's hollow at the back. Inside the back of that fits this spring. You can see the spring here. Sometimes you can give it a shake and it'll fall free. Other times you'll need something to hook onto it. I'm just going to use the edge of a knife here and give it a little pull. We can pull the spring out. Next thing we want to do is take these one-piece plastic wraparound grips off. There is a screw in the bottom. This is in fact the only screw in the gun. Not a lot of designs have only one screw. I think the C96 Mauser pistol is one other famous gun that has a lack of screws other than the one that holds the grips on. So we'll get that screw removed. And there's a washer on the screw, so be careful not to lose that. And the one-piece grip comes right off. You can see that's just one big chunk of plastic. And inside there you have the grip frame. As you can see, this is sort of almost a bird's head type of grip frame. And the profile of the grip is given mostly by this filler on the back. It was fairly easy for High Standard to make this into a round butt grip because this was already contoured, unlike Smith & Wessons and Colts that had a squared off grip that they had to change the actual grip frame, the frame of the gun itself, to effect a change to a round butt. So with this, it was just a matter of changing the grip. The frame was already suited to making this a round butt style. So there's only one more pin holding the grip frame to the receiver, and it's the pivot pin that the hammer pivots on. You can see it's on both sides there. So we can take our 1/8 inch punch again, and we can push that pin out to the side, and it comes right out. We can take our punch out and separate the grip frame with all its associated components from the frame and the barrel. So the frame and the barrel, it's pretty easy to get in and clean around all the various crevices, clean the barrel, all the usual junk that gets on a .22 revolver from shooting rimfire ammo. You can get at all the guts of the frame as well there, clean in there. This is an alloy frame, like an aluminum alloy frame. The barrel is steel, and it's held in place with a pin, but of course there's no need to remove that pin and remove the barrel. You might as well just leave that in place. And here is the heart and soul of the gun, I guess, the revolving mechanism. And this is another aluminum alloy casting. These other parts are steel. We have the trigger, we have the hand here, the hammer of course with the firing pin attached to it, the locking block or bolt that comes up and locks the cylinder in place. And this is an interesting component here. This piece here acts as a safety with with this component in place, the hammer cannot go far enough ahead to strike the rim of a cartridge, but when the trigger is pulled, the top part of this fits into this recess in the hammer and allows the firing pin to go ahead far enough to strike a cartridge. So the gun cannot fire with the trigger in the forward position. So if a blow was to hit the hammer, this basically sits in between. It's not really a transfer bar, it's kind of an anti-transfer bar. It basically blocks the hammer from moving ahead. And that component comes down, and it actually holds the other side of the hand in place. And this spring here, this coil spring, powers that hand. And all the springs in this gun are coil springs or a variant thereof. There are no leaf springs in it. So this is all held together with cross pins. You can see our mainspring here is a coil spring that runs on a shaft, and it can be removed by depressing it through this hole. No need to do that for this type of maintenance. And then we've got the other this other hollow pin which goes through, and that's what this this pin fits through here. So as you can see, you can get at everything quite easily. To clean it out, clear it off with some solvent, a toothbrush, and get it all cleaned up and oiled. Reassembly is the reverse. So we'll take this assembly and we'll put it back. To be careful not to catch some of these smaller pins if they get a little bit unseated. There we go. So we've got the grip frame and the frame back together again. So we'll take our hammer pivot pin and making sure that those holes are lined up. You want to be able to see all the way through. We'll reinsert that pin. And I'm going to put the grip back on. And the grip screw. I'm not going to tighten this down completely at this point in time. I'm going to leave a little bit of play because we need to be able to get this spring back in here and over the end of, there's a pin there that powers the locking bolt, this locking bolt right here. And we have to be able to get this spring over that that pin. That can be a little bit of a trick to get done. And it should, once you get it over that, it should go right down like that. If it sticks up too far, if that spring sticks up too far, you've jammed it between the hole and that pin. It has to go over the pin. And we'll put our plunger back in there with the hollow side down, and we want that to go over that, you can see there, that fits over the spring. Now with that in place, we can tighten up the grip screw, because that left us with a little bit of play between these two components, which gives us some room to wiggle those components back together again. So with those lined up, we can snug down the grip, and that should remove all the play between those assemblies. Now everything's good and tight again. So we'll take our punch and insert the punch in to push the plunger out of the way. Take our crane and cylinder assembly and insert that in, and might take a bit of wiggling to get this done. Oh, there we go. That popped right in place. So the plunger is now moved back up into position, and it's holding the crane in place. And the gun is back together again. You can check it for function, make sure that everything indexes as it should, and that it locks. And everything seems to be working just fine. So that's how to assemble and disassemble the high standard R-101